Hey guys, welcome to our weekly development series. Over the last coming weeks, we have been looking at tarot, how to kind of read the tarot, step-by-step guide, looking at ideas, concepts, techniques and tips, and importantly, practical application. Hopefully where you are right now is you're being able to really bring all that together and begin to find some momentum with the way that you're working with the cards. I really those of you that are really interested in developing, working with the tarot, I really encourage you to go back and have a look and look over those development tips. We are now naturally beginning to move and start looking at mediumship. Something I really also encourage, you'll find within a link to, within this video, a blog that I wrote, that mediumship is more than this. It will give you an understanding of how I approach mediumship and how, in a way, for me, mediumship gave birth to what I would see and consider as holistic mediumship and what that actually means. Over the last coming weeks, we've received some really fantastic questions, really fascinating questions from some of our audience on our Facebook page, which is Spirit Meets Adventure, and over on our YouTube channel. If you kind of Google Shane Gadd YouTube, you'll find my channel, and there's just a wealth of videos, a library of videos and resources, and we've taken some really interesting questions. Now, the question that I'm going to work with today, I feel, is a great way to start a mediumship development series. It's just perfect for what we're about to do. The question coming from a lady called Gemma Hays via YouTube, one of our subscribers, and Gemma goes on to say, I see a presence in a doorway, next to a doorway, in hallways and next to windows. Sometimes I just see them stood in front of me or next to a loved one. I think this is really really important point, is that over time I've been really sharing why they turn up, why they show themselves, in doorways, next to doorways, in hallways, stairways, next to windows. What I think is really important, and what's really interesting, is what Gemma has said, or standing next to a loved one. The thing is, if you think about a doorway, a hallway, a stairway, a passageway or window, these are areas within either our places of work or within our home. Normally a lot of contact is felt or seen, experienced at home. These are spaces within our home that we pass so often. But importantly, this is the key point, they're thresholds. Every one of them is a kind of threshold in between spaces. So it's something that's locked right into our subconscious. So for spirit to grab our attention, they just emanate their presence from these thresholds, from these doorways, hallways, stairways, windows. It is almost as if they're saying, do you know what? I'm going to grab your attention. I'm here. Okay. Now, there are also places that you would feel aware of because they are almost an opening, and it's easy, you think, all of you that have felt as if you're being watched by something or being watched by someone, think about where that kind of eminence has come from. That eminence has always come from a doorway, next to a doorway, a hallway, a stairway, or a window. And that's because it almost is that feeling of being watched from the other side of something. So it's as if they stand there and they just gently but firmly say, listen, you will notice. And it feels a little bit unnerving, or it can feel a little bit kind of threatening, but the thing is, that is by design. And often, you know, there's no kind of threatening energy with it, but it's as if it's by design meant to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit on edge. You know, it's like I'm being watched from that hallway. The hallway's in the dark, you know, the lights turned off, but as if someone's standing there or something standing within that space. That is all by design. And this is the kind of development aspect, is those of you that want to develop your mediumship, you want to develop your psychic abilities, you want to develop even tarot. I would really encourage you to develop your kind of psychic abilities and your mediumship abilities, because it's going to enhance the tarot consultations that you give. But the thing to kind of really recognize is that what we've got to do is we've got to become aware of self. First and foremost, you can't just take that outer journey, you've got to take the inner journey to become aware of self. If you become aware of self, you can then spot the contrast or the changes or the subtleties within your environment. So one of the things I would really encourage is meditation, or something that absolutely kind of brings about a sense of stillness. You know that kind of space that you drift into when you're daydreaming. Okay, that is the similar space that you enter when you are consulting. Okay, because you drop into your subconscious, spirit emanate that kind of information. As I always say, all information is information, and you kind of you begin to become aware of it. But the only way we're going to is if we can become still, quiet and calm. Otherwise that information just passes us by because we're not noticing it. So the first thing to develop is a sense of meditation. I cycle, and I always say to people that actually miles are my meditation these days. It gets me out, it allows me to keep kind of very kind of strong and healthy as much as I can be. And I get that fresh air and I kind of get out there into nature or somewhere that I love. And at the same time, it unravels my thought processes and it becomes like a moving meditation. Once you kind of become kind of, aware of self, you can become aware of the environment around you. And this is the other important point, is that quite often when you feel something happening and you feel like you're being watched, note this, that is something that is going on outside of you, because it's a sense of being watched from the outside in. So therefore it's not just your imagination. Your imagination is more of a inner outer. This is an outside coming towards you. I am being watched from the outside. Okay, the thing is, we are hardwired to watch over ourselves, and that goes back an instinct, a protective driving force that goes back, which is kind of hardwired into that fight or flight mode within us, that kind of watches over us, which is why you can kind of drop off to sleep. Your husband, wife, brother, sister, family member may walk into the room and you won't wake up. Another day, they've had such a crazy day, they come in so annoyed and come in angry that they don't really kind of make any noise, but they come into the room and you wake up, because what you have sensed is you felt something threatening coming into the environment and you've woken up. That's that aspect of us, that part of us that watches over us, in a way kind of literally watching over the environment, watching over the space around you. You know, animals, dogs, you know, cats, it's hardwired into them. And I believe, you know, absolutely the same is hardwired into us. So note this, okay? So the first development aspect of this is to become aware of self. Same when you're working, and those of you that have seen my work, you know, I might go, oh, I can't breathe, you know, I've got this feeling of suffocation, of this feeling of strangulation, and it turns out that was the exact way that that person passed. You know, I was only working yesterday and I got this disorientated feeling, you know, I was completely, you know, off balance, and I got this choking feeling and this sickness feeling, and it was very key information to the person I was working for how someone past that was connected to them, you know. And the only way that we can kind of explain or describe those things, and what I call, like, then at that level, body responses, as if we have a sense of awareness of self. Okay, so meditation is key, and then it is beginning to notice the subtleties within your environment. Okay, beginning to notice the subtleties within your environment. Next development session, we're going to be looking at first and primary contact, how to make first and primary contact with the other side of life. For now, I leave that with you. As always, it's a real pleasure. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.